Most of us come from one country and live in it for all of our lives. But for many, the journey is more complex, a traversing of continents, countries and language, and with it, the feeling of being other. This is the story of Betty Sanga, who in over 6 decades has found herself in many different spaces and places in an effort to seek a better life for her children. She's leapt across cultures and geographical boundaries, making huge sacrifices in a winding journey that's brought her to Cape Town, where she lives today. Hello, Betty. How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
Should we go down? I'm really looking forward to hearing your amazing story.
Oh, all right. I'm so happy too, and excited.
こんばんは。
こんばんは。
元気ですか？
元気です。わあ。
ようこそのブレストランいらっしゃいませ。
はい、こっち。はい。ありがとう。
Hi, Keke.
はい。
Betty's friend.
Yes, yes, yes. Very close. She's so sweet.
It's Japanese. So you don't like raw fish?
No. My daughters, they do. I grew up not eating raw fish. あら。
食べて。
あらま。
これ僕からね。
I was born in Congo, in a city called Kamina, in the province of Katanga. It was peaceful, happy family until the day my parents divorced. I was 9 years old. My mom went back to the village to her parents. My father started drinking. Now I've got a drunk father and 3 siblings to look after. It was very, very tough. But I kept telling them we have to go to school to get out of this situation. And after grade 7, I took my sisters to my grandparents. So you stay with my grandparents, I'll go to study. And that school is like at 170 kilometers. We have to walk to boarding school. The first day we walked, now my legs started aching. You've got all your luggages on your head. And when someone is very tired, we rest a bit. So when the sun sets, the next village close to 6 o'clock, we sit there, and then where we're gonna sleep. Now the people in the village, they provide us food.
You walked for 3 days with shoes?
The first day you wear shoes. The second day it's so swollen, it don't fit in the shoes. So you have to walk barefoot. We talk, and sometimes you just keep quiet, you're so tired. And when it rains, it's cold, so you're shivering, you don't feel like talking, but you just keep walking.
The boarding school was a convent run by Belgian nuns, and for Betty it represented a first step to a brighter future. She was determined to do well and became extremely disciplined. What was it like for you in the convent?
The education part was good, so it was very strict, nuns. Strict and discipline, which I like very much, be the part of boarding school. The bad part was the food. The food was miserable. So that's where until now, I don't mind. I can go for days without eating, I'm fine, as long as I got my tea or some fruits or some salad.
Education was always something very, very important to you.
I have to be first in my class. When the teacher teaches, I listen. When we finish class, I know. I can remember what he said at the beginning and what he said at the end. And so I didn't study much. I used to help the students that didn't understand. By helping them, then I know. I go through my study.
What were your dreams for yourself when you were in high school?
I wanted to become a nurse. My mom was a midwife. And then my mom said, no, if you want to work in the hospital, then be a doctor. It's hard working if you become a nurse.
Betty was accepted at Kinshasa University. At first she planned to study medicine, but within a short time changed her course. She was far away from her rural beginnings and forging her own path in the world through education.
I changed to pharmacy because When I go to sleep, I want to sleep until the morning. If you're on duty, they call you anytime somebody emergency, then I say, no, I won't handle it. I want to sleep at night.
Betty met her husband Freddie, a geophysicist at university. After she graduated, they had a baby girl, Karin. Betty was determined to provide her child with the closeness that she'd lacked growing up.
Whatever I didn't get from my parents, I was prepared to give to my daughter. And never apart from my daughters till they get old enough to start working in society. After I gave birth, like few weeks, 2 weeks, he said, no, he got this scholarship for Japan. I said, well, okay, Japan. I just didn't know a thing about life in Japan. But I said, I'll go and then see what will happen.
Betty Sanga and her young child left their home in the Congo and moved to Japan, where Betty's husband was studying. It was a huge culture shock. She didn't speak the language, she had no knowledge of Japanese culture, and as a black African, felt an acute sense of otherness. What was going on in your mind about this leap that you were going to take?
I knew they made Toyota cars. That I knew. I knew about Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's it. I didn't speak English then. Obviously, I didn't speak Japanese. I never heard of Japanese. We got there in December. It's freezing cold and snowing. We got at the station. We get out of the bus. I see people wearing suits and white gloves and this black Toyota Crown. It's the Lux cars. They parked all along the thing. Now I asked my husband, who are they expecting? He said, no, they're taxi drivers. I said, oh, no. I thought there's some official arriving or what. They were just taxi drivers. So we get to the foreign student race of Kyoto University where they stayed. They were Chinese, they were Korean, no French-speaking people. So switch on the TV, that's the first time I hear Japanese. And then they laugh. Sound like nothing. I can speak many languages in my country, but this is close to nothing. Everything was written in Japanese, in Chinese character. No alphabet in Kyoto then, no alphabet. So I couldn't move from the race. If I go out, I don't know, I can't even ask how to get, I couldn't speak English either, so I couldn't even ask how to get to the race. For 3 months I was sitting there, unless my husband take me somewhere. In Congo, I never stayed by myself. I had friends, I had people, so first time I'm just me and my daughter in the flat. Stressed out, my hair didn't grow, my nails didn't grow. I lost close to 30 kilograms. In Kyoto, I was the only black woman, and Karin was the only black baby. Wherever you went, they called people to come and look at you. It was hard. I think the hardest part is when you can't express yourself. I was homesick. You cry, you want to be home and you can't go home, and then you cry, and then sometimes you say, if I scream hard enough, my mom will hear me in Africa. She will hear my voice. So you cry, and then pray. I couldn't find a Catholic church in Kyoto. Close to 4 years. We stayed 6 years and a half. I didn't know where to find a Catholic church because it's just 2% of Japanese population are Christian. So they are Buddhist. But the shrine in every corner, So I had my Bible. Whenever I felt, say, God, I can't find your house here, but you in my heart.
After 8 months, the family moved to an apartment outside of the university residence. Betty was pregnant with her second child when she met Terry Sasaki, a welcoming local.
We moved in the flat. The very next day, this Japanese lady came and greeted me in English, and then she said she studied in America. Now she wants a friend with whom she can speak English, so she won't forget her English. Then I say, I don't speak English. She said, you got what I said, then it's fine, we will communicate. And she came every single day for 2 years. We make tea, we drink Coke, we play Scrabble. That's how I learned English. She helped me a lot. That was my angel sent by God. She saved my life in Japan. Veiling, my kimono. That's from my best friend.
What about the shoes?
The shoes, we couldn't find my size.
What size foot are you?
8. Japanese size is stopped at 24.
Betty, so you couldn't get shoes in size 8?
No way.
So first you had to learn English,
Yes.
which you did, and then you had to learn Japanese.
Yes. Now my daughter started kindergarten. So she went to school. When she comes back, she will tell me whatever new words she learned. And then that's how I learned my Japanese.
This is a first for me, and I'm speaking to a DRC Congolese-born woman who speaks Japanese and who lives in South Africa and who's wearing a kimono in Goodwood.
Yes.
The Sanga started to find their feet socializing with another Congolese family who lived in a nearby town. But the kids were feeling the brunt of the cultural divide. Karin particularly was struggling at school. Your children were foreign in school and there were only black kids in school.
In Japanese, doronko means the mud. So they thought they put mud on her. That's why she had that color. And they think she didn't wash enough that mud to have the same color. She would tell me what they said. Some words I didn't know because I didn't even know Japanese, and then I'll ask her to explain it in French. And her French is like just what she learned from me. But as I learn more Japanese, then I'll speak to the teacher. They try to ease her. But kids, you know kids. So she never played during the break. She stayed in the class. She'll read. As the class finished, she ran home.
In high school, the bullying got worse. For Betty, who'd promised herself that she'd provide her children with the loving and stable childhood that she'd not had, it was unbearable.
Now she plays basketball, she did judo, she did karate, and she's good in basketball, and she's tall. Her friends are small, so they will ask everybody not to pass ball to Karin. So she's just running there, they want pass ball, and then they will ask, don't speak to Karin. Your friends are in your class, not in your school, just your class, and now they decide not to talk to you.
You knew that your children were suffering at school and you had to do something. So you took a leap of faith, another one.
I went to Belgium and checked the school there. Now our government asked the Belgian embassy not to give visa to people that want to settle in Belgium. So now the trouble started in Congo, all these things. So I said, okay, I'm going back to Congo and check how the situation is. Went back to Congo, and there were nowhere to take the kids there. In July, I came to South Africa. So I just fell in love with Cape Town.
In 1994, Betty left her husband, who remained working in Japan. And without knowing anyone, she and the girls leapt into the great unknown. Again, a new culture, new challenges, and being foreigners in a strange new place.
He didn't want us to leave. So he was forced to let us go. He didn't want us to leave. From Japan now to South Africa, for me, it was not scary like going to Japan, because at least there's alphabet, and I had English. I will survive. How, I didn't know, but I knew I would survive, I'll make it.
In 1994, Congolese-born Betty Sanga left her life and husband in Japan and came to South Africa with her daughters. It was not the first time that Betty had moved continents and had to adjust to a new culture and language. Inevitably, the move had its challenges.
Now we start looking for a flat. For 2 months, I bought newspaper every single day. When you phone them, they say, come see. When you get there, they're sorry, it's gone. It was taken, but still on the paper. So we couldn't find the place because we were black.
They eventually found a flat and the girls went to local schools. But language was an issue. Karine and Natalie were fluent in Japanese and French, but English was completely new.
They went to Japanese school. They have no clue with alphabet, never spoke English. But English, I thought it was easier than French. So the first day when I got to school, and Karine, that's my eldest daughter, asked Natalie, do you even know how to write your name in alphabet? She said, no. And then I wrote down Natalie, and she looked and said, no ways. In Japanese, it's just 3 characters. How come it's that long? At least my daughters were happy. The first year, it was tough. Following year, they got English now. I told them, we're here to study. You first in your grade, not in your class. First in your grade. And by the end of the year, they were first in the grade until they finished matric.
The girls finished university in South Africa, but are now working in Japan.
Hi.
Hi, Natalie, it's Lisa. Hi.
Natalie.
Hi, Lisa.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
She's my partner in crime.
Really? Why the two of you partners in crime?
Everything's just together.
You know, we were talking a lot about language. In Japan, you had to learn different Japanese, but it's put you in a fantastic position.
Yes, I think we were very lucky because we were in a situation where it was normal to speak Japanese. So it wasn't as if we were forced to, or we had to make extra effort to learn Japanese. It just happened to us because we went from kindergarten days. Our doors were open now. We could go to anywhere we want and pursue any type of dreams because there's no language barrier.
Also, a big part of the story is being other. You know, you guys stood out. You still stand out in Japan.
We tend to be foreigners wherever we go. We are foreigners in Japan. We are foreigners in South Africa. And when we went to Congo, they thought we were foreigners too because we didn't speak Congolese language. So, but if you take it negatively, then it means you don't fit in anywhere. But then if you take it positively, it means that you're special everywhere.
Yeah. Unable to work as a pharmacist in South Africa, Betty focused on her children and spent almost 20 years with their education and welfare as her primary concern.
In 1996, I wrote the pharmacist professional exam. Now to register as a pharmacist, you need a job offer. To get a job offer, you need a registration. So it was that vicious circle. And to get a work permit, I have to leave the country and wait until it's finalized. Now my daughters are still minors, and I promise never leave my daughters, so I give up. So I just sat and looked after my daughters.
For the second time in her life, a new friendship changed Betty's circumstances. This time, while walking in Sea Point, she met Congolese businesswoman and hairdresser Rosie Ongem Dagenda.
Betty was passing with her 2 girls, and they have plates with cotton. And I said to my brother-in-law, I said, that people, they look like they are French people. Then they pass. Then one day I called Betty, then that's when we connected. Till that time we are friends.
She had the restaurant and the hair salon. Now, she was in charge with the restaurant, and her cousin with the hair salon. For family reasons, she had to leave suddenly. So she was sitting with 2 businesses. So I took over the restaurant, Rose's restaurant, so I'm in the restaurant since last year in February.
Today in her 60s, Betty Sanga has created a culinary home away from home. Choosing not to return to Japan, she's busy at the restaurant and has not only breathed new life into it, but into her own life as well.
Hello, hello. Welcome to La Casa Tropical.
La Casa Tropical.
La Casa Tropical meaning the tropical hut. As you can see the shape inside.
Yeah,
inside.
a hut in the middle of Sea Point. That's how it should be.
And tropical in the middle of winter. So I'm busy cooking meat now.
Oof.
That's we call beef pepper soup.
Have you always been a cook?
Yeah, I started cooking, I was like 9 years old. For my siblings, yes. And as I grew older, I improved my cooking.
So it's lucky I'm meeting you now, right?
Yes, you're very lucky.
I'm sure it is fantastic.
Okay, my restaurant, we serve home-cooked food. So when you eat in our restaurant, you're at home.
You are still in a different country to your husband, and you've made some choices about that for you.
I feel so good. Because after sitting for years, but I don't regret the years because I looked after my daughters. They were my most priority then. Now this I'm doing for me. At least I've got time for myself now.
You know, for your kids, you can do everything. You can do everything. Sometimes in life, you must make sacrifice. Because now we are happy. And now with this restaurant now, she has more time for herself now. She can make some pocket money.
You're a woman of great courage. Where does it come from?
I think it's surviving my parents' divorce, getting my education, and to give my daughters a good life. You suffer and then you get stronger. It made me stronger. And after surviving Japan, I'd say I can survive any situation.
My mom always, as a reminder that even though it might be scary at first, when it's time to make the jump, it's often necessary. And when you do, it's much better than the situation that you jumped from. And I think that's what makes her, I don't know how else to say it, but super cool.
Super cool. Agreed, Betty.
Love you, Natalie. I think life is about taking chances, trying new experiences. Maybe you don't know how, but you just have a little bit of faith. It's not easy, but maybe you get some help here and there, but you can make it.